Good morning, Bucknutters. Welcome to the Bucknuts Morning 5 here on Friday, September 12th, 2025. I am Dave Biddle. I am very happy to be joined by Jonah Booker for his usual Friday visit. Oh, baby, worlds are colliding for our boy. Oh, man. Oh, JBook is an Ohio State insider. He loves his Buckeyes. He also played defensive back at Ohio University. He loves his alma mater. Man, is this one of those games where you're just like, no injuries, you want both teams to play well? I mean, what's going through your mind, my man?
This is great. This is great. I mean, as a Bobcat, these are the opportunities that you love to be able to go and play in the shoe. Ohio they are a darn good football program, but I'm going to be real. They're going to get ran out the stadium here. I've watched every one of their snaps against Rutgers and West Virginia. This is one of those games Ohio State should handle them fairly easily. But if you're Ohio, go out there, compete, get that paycheck, and then get ready to gear up and go win the MAC championship. You had 3 Power 5 teams that you've had on your schedule. There shouldn't be any reason why, besides Toledo, that they shouldn't run through the MAC conference. So for me, it's like, hey, sit back, enjoy the game. I pretty much know how this game is going to go. Ohio State should roll big. We'll have our predictions here coming up here shortly, but it's one of those, hey, proud of your alma mater, because you know that they're in a situation where the football program is in a great standing. They had a great win last week against West Virginia. Hey, kudos to you. You called it, Dave. You caught it. You even caught it potentially outright.
Yeah, and I did have a little money on that. My other predictions were terrible. In my Duke, Illinois blew out Duke. It's one of the few games where a team has more total yards by a significant margin than the other team, and the other team blows them out because Duke had 5 turnovers. To Illinois' none. So anyway, that was a terrible pick by me. All right, we'll get to our best bets in a moment. Let's do our traditional Friday predictions. I have mine written down, so I'll do mine. And as I'm announcing mine, you can say yours, and then I'll write yours in here. All right. We'll go count of 3, and you can give your prediction for Ohio State and Ohio, and I'll post mine. All right, 1, 2, 3.
I have 55-7.
Look at that. I have 45-7.
Yeah.
45. I thought I was being maybe because it's the point spread started at 32.5 Buckeyes, obviously. That's ticked down to 30.5. And I was thinking, am I not giving Ohio enough credit here? But I just think the way the Bobcats have played the first 2 weeks, the fact that they're defending MAC champs, I don't think they're going to sneak up on Ohio State. So, all right. So let me update this here. You have 55-7. I love how our scores are always like, if not like almost spot on, like definitely in the same ballpark.
You won last week with that blowout call. You were much closer than I was. I mean, they absolutely laid the lumber last week. You were the one that got closer than I did.
Yeah, and at one point it was when it was like 63-0 or something, and I was like, yeah, it was 63-0. That kid missed that field goal. I was like, man, if that kid would have made that field goal, I might have nailed it right on the money. Then they scored. It doesn't matter because they made it 70. Yeah. All right, let me update this. Ohio State 77. Your Bobcats 7. Yeah, here's the thing. I mean, I have a lot of respect for
55-7.
55-7, yeah. And I have a lot of respect for this team in general, but like I have a lot of respect for what Parker Navarro did. Like, I think a lot of quarterback. I know he had already transferred once. I believe he started at Florida International and came up to OU. Had a breakout year last year, has one more year. I'm thinking, oh crap, they're going to lose him to the portal, aren't they? So kudos to that kid. He's tough. So I feel like, but this defense is so damn good. I've seen people predicting like OU is going to score 14 points and 17 points. I'm like, unless something weird happens, I don't see them scoring more than one touchdown. And you agree.
Right. I will say this. Ohio State has an advantage across the board pretty much at every position. The one caveat I will say that will force Ohio State to be a little bit more disciplined is they need to make sure that they're disciplined in staying home, because Parker Navarro will pull the ball down and run. He's one of those guys that likes to ad lib. The other thing is He will throw it up for grabs. He had 3 interceptions in the second half against West Virginia. But when you watch that Rutgers game, I mean, Rutgers put up 30 against them. West Virginia, it was weird because they had 8 yards rushing from the second. After the first quarter, their running back got hurt, and then they weren't able to move the football at all. They had 8 rushing yards for the rest of the game. Even with 3 interceptions thrown by Navarro in the second half, they weren't able to move the football. But this is the thing about this Ohio team. If you're Ohio State, you have to put them away early, because if you let them hang around and you give them any type of confidence, any type of swivel of like, hey, a glimmer of hope, leaving the door crack, that team will kick it open. And that's what happened with Rutgers. Rutgers jumped out on them early. And then once they left that door open, they started to crawl back into that game and gave them a little bit of a scare there in the fourth quarter. But when you look at it pound for pound, talent-wise, the Ohio doesn't match up with the Buckeyes. It's not even close, but they're a great football team when you look at that lower level. And they should win the MAC. I think it would probably be them in Toledo with Chip Traynham as the 2 best MAC teams. Buffalo's probably right up there as the 3rd team. But yeah, for Ohio, go up there, get your payday, cash that check, and then get ready to try to run through the MAC season.
All right, let's give our best bets for the week. Do you want to start? Or do you want me to start?
I'll start this week.
All right.
I'm circling back on West Virginia, the backyard brawl, Pitt versus West Virginia. The over-under on this game, they have it set very high at 57.5. I'm taking the under on this game. 11 out of the last 15 have went under on this game, Dave. And like I said, this West Virginia team scored 10 points against Ohio. They had 3 turnovers in the second half, interceptions, and they were still only able to score 10 points. 8 yards rushing from the second quarter, between the second, third, and fourth quarter against the Bobcats. You're going up against a Pitt offense that's not necessarily dynamic. Give me 57.5 under on this one. The trend says 11 out of 15 in this rivalry. I'm going to go ahead and continue to follow the trend as my best bet here.
I like that. I don't see that being a high-scoring affair. Those are a lot of points. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. I mean, West Virginia, as you said, it sold out Peden Stadium. How cool is that? I know a lot of them are West Virginia fans, and the OU fans are like, yeah, West Virginia's that way. You guys can go back that way. Country roads, Mountain Mama. But that was really cool to see Peden Stadium just sold out. So, it's going to be interesting. But, yeah, as you mentioned, Parker Navarro, I just talked him up. But as you said, he threw 3 interceptions, and the Mountaineers could still only muster 10 points. All right. Mine is – I have Texas A&M plus 6.5 at Notre Dame. I think this Texas A&M team's a little underrated. Their quarterback's pretty good. Like, he played a little bit last year, more than a little bit. He started 8 games as a redshirt freshman. He's good. He's been really good through their first 2 games. He's dual threat. They've got a couple good running backs I really like. And Mike Elko can coach up some defense. And we'll see. I thought CJ Carr looked good against Miami after a shaky start. And then he looked like it's like what I've been saying about Julian Sayin and even Bryce Underwood. It's like Bryce Underwood didn't look good throwing it, but like at least he looks poised, which if you're afraid, a lot of times you can see right away. I remember seeing Spencer Rattler as a freshman. He looked like he was seeing ghosts. I'm like, this is never going to work out. So you can sometimes just tell. But all these guys look poised. But I really like Texas A&M's quarterback even more than CJ Carr. And I was tempted to just go Texas A&M money line, but I need to get one of these right. So I'm going to take those 6.5 points. I feel like it's going to be almost a 50-50 game. So the fact that Texas A&M is getting 6.5, I will take those 6.5, even in South Bend against a good, gritty Notre Dame team.
I think this one might be a low-scoring type one, Dave, because Texas A&M is going to come in. They got a 4 running back type of tandem situation where they're going to be trying to run the football. Notre Dame, they're not going to try to expose that offensive line like they did against Miami. the one thing that Notre Dame got away from was rushing the football with Jeremiah Love. I think Notre Dame's going to try to run that ball there. So if you have two teams who are going to try to rely on the rushing game, you might get a tight, low-scoring game here. I like it. You got any secondary picks you like?
Yeah, I do like the under in Miami USF. Who knew that was going to be a battle of a top 5 team against a top 18 team? Cool story there with USF. Imagine if they beat Miami. I know they're not going to, but like they beat Florida last week, and then they're a group of 5 team. I like the under of 56.5. Here's why. Miami's got a really good defense. I think it's going to be tough for USF to move the ball, but I can see this, being relatively low scoring. It just seems like a lot of points. Miami's defensive line is fantastic. 56.5, under 56.5 is my secondary one for Miami and South Florida. What about you?
I like the LSU Florida under 48.5 there. You look at that Florida, the way they perform against South Florida, didn't put up a whole lot of points. LSU, the last 2 weeks against Clemson and Louisiana Lafayette, I think, or Louisiana Tech or something like that, didn't put up a lot of points. This game historically has been a defensive battle. I think you're going to get a battle defensively here. I can't see a shootout happening in Death Valley at night for that one. I will say the other one, I like Clemson and Georgia Tech first half under 26.5. I think that one you're going to, because Clemson, there's something wrong with their offense. I don't know what's going on with it. Essentially, you're talking about you're going to have to rely on both teams to get, 28 points to cover that. 4 scores here, and Georgia Tech, heavy run team. Clemson's offense, they usually play very conservative to start the game. And you look at them, 0 points to kind of start the game against Troy. And so I'm looking at it as like, give me that first half under. Now, I might even parlay that into a total under 52.5 full game as well. We'll see, but I kind of leaning towards that first half under there.
Ooh, I like that. And that game's interesting because I believe the spread opened at plus 6.5 Georgia Tech, and it's all the way down to plus 3.5 Georgia Tech. So I wish I would have jumped on that one as plus 6.5. They're a good team with Haynes King at quarterback.
What do you think? Georgia all the way down to 3.5. I mean, I don't trust Tennessee, man.
I know, but you know what? They oddly upgraded at quarterback. I think they won the trade. I think Aguiar is actually better than Nico. Nico was the worst decision ever.
Isn't this like prime, like Kirby Smart, everybody against the world? Nobody thinks we're going to go in there and do it, and Georgia just goes out there and thumps them by like 30. Like that's like
I could see that.
That's like typical, like fall into that Georgia trap.
I hear you, and their defense is absolutely elite, but like Gunnar Stockton, man, I don't know. I don't see it. He didn't seem like he looked like obviously he wasn't ready as a redshirt freshman. He could run it, tough guy. He just wasn't there as a passer. You're thinking, okay, now as a third-year sophomore, I just don't see it. It's early. I get it's a small sample size. I just don't see any improvement from and he can throw the ball.
I think Gunnar Stockton has like 4.5 air yards per completion. Like everything that he's throwing is pretty much at the line of scrimmage. Like Georgia's not throwing it down the field, even though they got Branch from USC, who's a guy that's supposed to be stretching the field for them. When you look at Georgia, that's a offense with Bobo, who's supposed to have been able to, really get that offense going, and you're just not seeing it. But it's hard to bet against Georgia when the line's that tight. I feel like Kirby used that motivation where everybody's against us right now, and then they go out there and find a way to just smash Tennessee. Like Tennessee can't get over that Georgia hump. Can they do it this time? I don't know, but it might be some good value on Georgia here.
This might be like their best chance because I do feel like they have a quarterback advantage. They're playing at home. All the jokes about them nicknaming our stadium Neyland North and we just smacking them down and just get back to Tennessee. The real Neyland North is a tough place to play. Like if this game is at Georgia, I can see a blowout. I'll actually be surprised if it. No, I'll take back what I said earlier. I'll be surprised if it's a blowout because Tennessee's at home. They got the better quarterback, and if they can't throw the ball, then Tennessee's just going to stack up on the run. And Georgia's offensive line is good, probably not up to their typical standards, but their defense is fantastic. So who knows?
What's the over and under on that one? 49.5. You make some good points there because you look at, Tennessee stacking the box. Georgia's defense is going to be stout. That might be a play there.
Yeah, and it's
maybe a live in game.
I like that there's I like that it's at 3:30 too. That's a nice little primer before the really big game of the day, which is of course Ohio State and Ohio. Worlds colliding for JBook. I think that's hilarious. Your two teams playing against each other tomorrow, and you are going to be on the post game podcast with me, right?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. I know I already asked you last week, but I want to confirm that. Yeah, that's going to be interesting. 3:30. That's your classic SEC big game right there. 3:30. Number 6 Georgia at number 15 Tennessee. Boy, that'd be a big win for Tennessee. We made fun of Tennessee a lot. Talking about Neyland North and a lot of things they were saying. I have a lot of respect for how Josh Heupel handled the Nico situation. He was basically were like, trying to put, I don't know, basically blackmail him. Is that too strong of a word? And he just said, take a hike. And It looks like they upgraded by getting Aguiar. So it's interesting. All right. I want to get into players we want to see more of from Ohio State. Like some low-hanging fruit. We did this for a roundtable again. Like I said, Bo Jackson. I know, right? I'm being Captain Obvious. And then defensively, I want to see more out of Jarquez Carter. The more I see out of him, and he played like 19 snaps, I think, JB, against Grambling. The more I see out of him and the more I see out of Tywone Malone, I think they're going to need both. But I think Carter, even as a true freshman, I think might be a better option than Malone as the first 3-tech off the bench. So I want to see Bo Jackson, Jarquez Carter, more Riley Pettijohn.
There it is. That's my guy. I want to see some Riley Pettijohn. I thought he looked phenomenal. Isaiah West looks really good, Dave. I thought he ran the ball well. Obviously, Bo Jackson looks like a guy that really can handle a couple more carries there. Here's one for you. Bryson Rogers on punt return.
Yes.
I think they can get something out of that kid. He was one that can really plant his foot and go. I thought he looked good punt returning back there on that one return. So I think that's something that they should probably experience. Like I know everybody loves Brandon Ennis, but they got to get a little bit more out of the return game there from him if they want to keep him back there. I will say those are the guys that you probably want to see a little bit more from. Logan George gets his debut this week. That's one that I want to see what we get out of him because they're going to need him down the stretch as they get to the heart of the Big Ten schedule. You're going to need a deep rotation at the defensive end to make sure everybody's staying fresh. So Logan George, I want to throw his name in a hat as he makes his debut this week.
I'll go as far as to say if we see Lincoln Keenholz in this game in the fourth quarter, that's a good sign because this is not one of those games where it's just like, all right, like Grambling last week. All right, there'll be a blowout at halftime. Let's get all the backups in. If you think like that, that's how this game could be like a game in the second half. I don't think it will be. I think Ohio University is going to hang in there, muddy things up, and they're just a good team. I could see it being somewhat close in the first half, but I think Ohio State's just going to overwhelm them either late in the first half, early in the second. This game is going to be in hand, in my opinion. And then we're going to see Lincoln Keenholz, who it was cool to see him grade out as a champion, man.
Yeah, good for him. I mean, he came in, he did what he needed to do. I know a lot of people get bored with blowout games, Dave, but I actually like it, and the reason why is I'm so locked into this team, and we all follow recruiting, and we're so obsessed with like following this team, even from the roster from the top down. So once you start seeing like these younger guys get into the game and you start to see them playing that way, like, holy smokes, dude, some of these younger guys look incredible. I get as fired up watching these younger guys perform at a high level as I do some of the starters.
I'm with you. I love games like that because you get to see Riley Pettijohn out there, not for like 3 plays at the end of the game. You get to see that young man play for 2 straight quarters, if not more, and saw what he did. He's going to be an absolute stud here.
Yeah. Yeah. And these guys and these young kids, they work hard. And all of these guys on the team, they work their absolute butt off. And for them to be rewarded to get out there and play, that's a huge reward for them to get the opportunity to get their name called and be able to, say to their parents, hey, I got to play today. So that right there is a huge benefit and a reward for all of their hard work. And for me, I just get so pumped up seeing guys out there like TJ Alford flying off the edge, making plays. And
Zion Grady
flying off the edge, making plays. Like he looks like he's one of those younger guys, like in a year or two, that's going to be an absolute home record. That's going to be bending that corner, like just absolutely like just destroying people. Like Isaiah West, he's coming back from a knee injury and he's getting his first live action, and he looks like he's someone down the line that's going to be an absolute stud. Like you get those glimpses of what the future is going to look like. That's when I really like stand up, like, okay, I see you, young fella, looking good. Like I get hyped up watching those young guys.
I was getting hyped up watching Oklahoma last week. I tell you what, I mean, what was it? Michigan was ended up being Michigan was 4.5-point underdogs, and it wasn't a blowout, but Oklahoma had that game in hand almost the entire way. It was 14-0 at halftime. Justice Haynes looks like he's a real good running back. He had that long run to kind of get Michigan back in it at 14-7, but Oklahoma controlled that game. Bryce Underwood, 9 of 24 passing, -1 rushing yards, and I get it, all the caveats. Tough place to play for a true freshman, like making his first road start. I get it. Oklahoma's got a good defense. I get all of that. Michigan doesn't have great weapons around him. Their tight end was out. I get that. 9 of 24 is freaking awful, though.
Yeah. And did you see their offensive coordinator said that they had to go back and watch his high school tape to figure out how to proper utilize him? Like, come on, man. Like, you're in the middle of the season. Like, hey, it's go time. Like, bullets are flying, and you're having to go back and watch high school tape of a 5-star quarterback that you guys are paying $10 million to. Like, what are you doing here? Like, that's amateur hour. Like, as an offensive coordinator who's being paid millions of dollars to get the best out of a kid that you're also paying millions of dollars, who's supposed to be a generational talent, by the time that he steps foot on campus, you already supposed to have a game plan that's going to maximize his talent to get the most out of him. You don't supposed to be in the middle of the season talking about, hey, we needed to go back and watch his high school tape to figure out how we're going to get the most out of him. Like, what are we doing here? Like, if Brian Hartline came to the podium and said, we needed to go back and watch Julian Sands' high school tape to figure out how to utilize him, red flag for me, Dave. That right there would have been a huge red flag for me. Like, we love our team, and I'd have been on here like questioning it, like, what are we doing here?
I like this. Let's see. I like this question. Another one from Steve on X. He said, what is your top 5 in college football right now? I would go, looks to me like Ohio State and Oregon are the 2 best teams. I mean, Penn State looks good too, but Oregon, I think Oregon's going to beat Penn State and Happy Valley here in a couple weeks.
I don't think Penn State looks that good.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, they were able to pull away from FIU, but that game was like 10-0 at halftime in Happy Valley. Yeah, they weren't playing at FIU, shockingly. I don't know why I said it was at Happy Valley. Duh. But yeah, seriously, 10-0 at halftime. Drew Aller's never really impressed me. They lost their backup quarterback, who was a nice little change of pace. He's at Missouri, and he's throwing for over 300 yards a game. We'll see. But I have Ohio State 1, Oregon 2. I'll throw Penn State in there at 3, but I definitely think it's Ohio State, Oregon 1, 2. Then I'll put Georgia 4 because of their defense, and I'll put LSU 5, Texas 6.
I'll go Ohio State 1. I'll give LSU 2 because I'll give them credit for that win at Clemson. Oregon 3. I'll give Georgia 4, Penn State 5. That would be my top 5. It's funny, if you venture over to the Penn State 24/7 board, they have a long-standing thread going about explosive plays, and they're arguing back and forth about how this team is not explosive and they're not generating explosive plays, and they're arguing about how they're not going to beat Ohio State because of the lack of explosive plays, or Clemson. And I guess James Franklin has been talking about how they need to generate more explosive plays. James Franklin came out post-game last week and said something crazy along the line, said the team hasn't looked good because they're rotating guys in, second team guys in with the first team guys. That doesn't make any sense to me. Here's why, Dave. Your first team guys, they're not even dominating against lower level competition. Before you start worrying about rotating twos in, you need to be dominating lower level guys with your first team before you start worrying about rotating guys in. It's 6 minutes to go in the game against FIU, and they still have their starters in. You better believe they did not plan on having their starters in with 6 minutes to go in the game, up 20-0 against FIU. That game finally broke later because one of the running backs broke off a long, I think, 60-yard run, and then FIU had a fumble right there within their red zone, and they were able to get the ball right back and score, turn it right back around and score again. But Penn State, something's up with them. They're not generating their explosive plays. And Drew Aller, he looks like the same Drew Aller. He doesn't look like he's taking that next step like a lot of people thought he should have taken this year.
Great stuff, my man. I will see you a little more than 24 hours from now. Maybe more like 32 hours from now. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll be on the post-game show.
All right, man. Enjoy the game and enjoy your worlds colliding. He is Jonah Booker. Thank you, sir.
All right. Talk to you later.
All right. Thanks, man. All right. He still called it BTA Fridays. I mean, that's that. He's going with the slogan. I like it, even though it's his two teams going at it. So this will be fun tomorrow. This is not the primetime game that we wanted at Ohio Stadium this year, but it's the one we're getting. It's the one we're getting. So it'll be fun. It'll be a lot of fun. At least it's not like, nothing against Kent State. I'm just going to use them. It's not like Kent State's coming in here like one of the worst teams in the MAC. This is one of the top 2 teams in the MAC, the best team in the MAC last year. So they should be one of the top. There was like a group of 5, top 25. You would think that. And I think Football Scoop does that. This would be one of the top 25 group of 5 teams in the country for sure. So I like that. You had this marquee game week 1 against Texas, of course, 1 versus 2 or 1 versus 3. And then you get like the game where everybody can play. Blow out Grambling 70-0. Everybody stays healthy. Everybody gets confidence. Young guys get to play perfect. And then you get kind of like an in-between game where it's not going to be a cakewalk, in my opinion. But, as long as you don't shoot yourself in the foot, you're eventually going to overwhelm the Bobcats, even a solid Bobcat team like this one. So have fun tomorrow, my friends. If you're over there, come by and say hi. I do the pregame show along with my guys Anthony Rothman and Tim May on 97.1. We have a tent right there at the Fan Fest, to come up and say hi to us. I know a lot of you already do that. It's always awesome seeing you guys out there. So 97.1, the Fan Tent. Our show starts. It'll always be 3.5 hours before every game because we go for 2 hours. And then the official Ohio State Football Network, which goes across like the 100 of stations, seriously, that it goes across. They do the official pregame show, again, for the entire Ohio State Football Network. That goes for an hour and a half. So we'll be kicking off at 3:30 tomorrow. 3:30 to 5:30 is the show. So stop by, say hi if you'd like to. And once again, thanks to the former Bobcat defensive back Jonah Booker for joining me on the show today. And join me for what we learned live right after the game. Immediately following the game, I'll be with JBook. I'm going to try and get Heater. I haven't asked Heater yet, but Heater's been a regular on the post-game show since its inception a few years ago. So hopefully we'll get Heater on here. We'll definitely have JBook on here. And then, of course, Pat and Steve from Ohio Stadium after post-game interviews. Thanks again to JBook. Thanks to all of you. I really, really appreciate you guys tuning in for the show. Hope everyone has a great day and a great weekend. Go Bucks.